Welcome to the Theater of Others podcast. My name is Adam Marple, and I'm the co-artistic director of the Theater of Others. With the COVID-19 pandemic forcing a shutdown and reevaluation of space and gathering, we at the Theater of Others are thinking about what stories we need and how best we can share them. We believe space is psychology, and it informs the way in which an audience interacts and reacts to what is presented to them. We create uniquely theatrical events in bespoke sensory performance spaces crafted to encourage curiosity and grant the audience permission to commune with the play. Now that space has moved online, how can we encourage interaction and action amongst an audience virtually? The Theater of Others produces plays that both welcome and challenge the audience. We are committed to international collaboration and are a laboratory that helps artists grow through intensive study of their craft. The Theater of Others creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purpose of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task, and it requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? On the podcast today from Melbourne, Australia, are co-artistic directors Budi Miller and myself in Cairo, Egypt. This podcast contains explicit language.
Hi, Adam.
Hi, Budi.
How you going?
I'm sleepy, but I'm okay. I'm okay.
Your
How are
light
you?
is so like
Yeah.
it's like bedroom like haze.
Boudoir. I'm doing boudoir. I'm giving you some boudoir realness.
Yes, you are. And I'm
I'm giving
giving
you
you educated realness.
Yes, you are, exactly. I'm giving you
Educated
Fredericks.
DJ realness.
I'm giving you Fredericks of Hollywood. You're giving me academia for realness.
Yes, and I'm also giving you
You give me hair. You got the hair back.
I got my braids back. I got my braids back. I'm so happy.
Now
I'm
you
so
can whip
happy.
it.
I'm happy. Just I feel myself again. My braids is in. There's no
Mhm.
Don King happening. My braids is in.
Yep.
But this is the thing. I wanted to get it done in Australia, but I did it once. I did it once in Australia, and
Mhm.
and I did it from African women, and they just didn't do. They just don't. I think the cultural aesthetic of hair braiding in America is completely different than the rest of the world.
I'm
Like the
sure it
girls in
is.
America don't play; they throw down with the braids.
Yeah.
And I when I was in DC, I went to Aisha's. It's good. Look in the show notes, y'all. Aisha, it's a walk in. It's a straight up walk in experience. You don't make an appointment. There's like 20 African women just like full on throwing down the braids, girl. You walk in and it's amazing. And it's like tag teaming. You get like one girl's working on one thing and another girl, she's got time, she comes in and adds another thing. It's amazing. And look at my hair. It's amazing.
Yeah. There'll be nothing in the show notes for Aisha.
Why?
I don't know. Does Aisha have just type in Aisha DC hair and just go with whatever it pops up?
Aisha. Aisha. Aisha.
Okay, there you go. You'll just see it in the show notes. Just the name Aisha. No link to anything. Just
I'll
the
send
name.
you the link. I'll give you the link, Adam.
Okay.
I want y'all to know how to get this beautiful hair. Aisha, I love you, girl. It was like it was amazing. It was 7.5 hours. Because when you do little smaller braids all over your head like this, it takes time. So show up early. They're opening. They start working at 5 o'clock in the morning, girls, and it's all walk in. You got it. Get to Aisha's.
Is she a sponsor of the show now? What is going on?
She is when you look this good. Hello, honey. She is when you look this good.
She's our Patreon. Yeah.
Yeah. when I was leaving, they were like, she was like, "You've been here before, haven't you?" I was like, "No." She's like, "I thought I seen you before." I said, "It's because I look like
You're famous.
family."
Mm.
Famous, yeah, because I look famous.
Yeah.
But it was amazing, and they were all speaking French, and so they were screaming. They were like screaming French back and forth all over the shop. I used to like braiding hair and screaming and like da 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 da, and it was I was trying to read, but I could not hear the French because
Mm.
I speak la langue, and
Hmm.
I was like so into the vibe. It was full of love, full of friendship, and it was a gathering. It was a happening, Adam. And you always talk about these gatherings, and it was like
Yes.
it was a full on happening. This hair salon and and all the black women and black men, some black men, mostly black women, that were coming in to get their hair braided in all different kinds of ways. And each girl had their own specialty, and they were ready to go. I walked in, got it done. Okay, enough with my hair. I'm just so happy to have my hair back, y'all.
Yeah.
It's good to have my hair back.
It
I
looks good.
feel I feel rejuvenated. I feel black again.
Hmm. Yeah. There was a serious lack of blackness in this podcast for the last couple months. I've been worried that we might not be others anymore. We might be
Yeah.
too alike, too close to each other
Yeah.
in racial makeup. That.
Well, our hair was definitely closer.
Mm-hmm, 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 yeah.
Because I've seen you wake up in the morning and your hair is pretty Don King in the morning.
Mm-hmm. It can be. I look like a homeless man sometimes.
Yeah, it's quite hilarious.
Yeah.
So I hear that we have people sending us some feedback.
Yes, we did. We've been sitting on these two kind of feedbacks for a little while, but we were trying to get a see if there's anybody else going to join in this conversation. But they both are in response to our episode on cancellation, the episode about the Waiting for Godot production
Oh
that had
yes.
that had been canceled because
In the
of
Netherlands.
in the Netherlands. Yes, because of casting because the author's estate would not allow casting of women in the show, and therefore they did not hold auditions for women, and the university where the show was happening canceled it. So we had two replies to this. We
Mm.
thought we would. We thought we would have some replies to this, and
Yeah,
yeah, we're just
and
gonna.
we had some retorts.
We
We
had some. We had some retorts.
Galtley came
Exactly.
in like we had expected, but then it turned into a battle between the two of you that is inappropriate for
It
us to
was
put
not a.
on
It was not
the
a battle.
podcast. You two, I
It
was
was not a
sleeping.
battle.
Jack and I were having, we had nestles of sugar plums dancing in our heads,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we woke up to 20 messages
Hmm.
between you and Galtley about
Yes.
about
About this, that, and everything. About capitalism, consumerism, mostly about that. Like we didn't even talk about Beckett at all. It was just it
It
was
started
just
with Beckett, and then he supported me because he said that you don't know what capitalism is. And then what else?
sorry, I don't remember any of that. I remember what I remember is there was there was definitional things that we were both arguing
Definitional.
over. Yes, definitional things that we were arguing over. And by the time that we clarified those things, we were no longer arguing with each other. We were arguing for each other. We were basically picking up each
Mm,
other's argument. So
I don't think you were in agreement at the end because you still think that the Beckett estate is a corporation, and Galtney doesn't believe that. I'm just
again,
saying.
definition.
I'm
I
just saying.
mean,
I'm just saying because and also he agreed with me when you said that um, to boycott Beckett is using corporate mentality to our advantage, and he disagreed with you, just like I disagree with you.
it's not what I said at all. Not what I said.
What number podcast was that, so people can go back and listen on their own and hear all the things you said?
I don't know. You you can look it up. Not what I said. Not what I said.
It is
But
what you said.
it is not what I said. I would
What'd you
never
say?
say. I would say. Why are we doing this? Good God.
What would you say? What would you say?
I would say if you don't like something, don't support something. That's what I would say.
Yeah, but that's not what you said.
That's exactly what I said.
But you put the layer of capitalism on top of it, and I
I
was like,
put the layer of money, yes. And how else are you supporting the Beckett estate? With with
through
with with love and prayer, with Instagram messages? No, it's our money.
teaching you also you're teaching it in classes. That's also
I'm not
supporting the
doing that
estate.
either. I'm not
But
doing
what
that
I'm
either.
saying is but you were saying that to put our hands up and say, hell no, we won't do it, is basically us being corporate.
That's not at all what I said. You go back and listen to it. I did not say that. I said we have power as consumers in this market. We cannot teach it, which is not giving them any advertisement, and we cannot pay for it, which is not giving them any money. And if they change because they are a corporation, and I will disagree with Galtney on that, and I don't think he actually said they're not a corporation. They are a foundation that is taking in money. The only way to make anybody change anything now, sadly, is to take the money away from them. They're not
Yeah,
going to do
but
it out of
that's
the goodness of their
that's
hearts.
not corporate mentality.
I never said it was corporate
Okay,
mentality.
so then now you have to go back and listen, y'all. Now you have all we're already at provocations. You all have to go back and listen to the podcast, and also listen to, because the reason why is because we're going into the responses to that podcast. So now that we are not, and now that we fired up the heat, now that we done kindled up the flames,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
let's hear some of the responses. Who do we have first?
All right. So first we have Michael Guralmayalo, who was one of
Michael,
our playwrights for the Audio Play
yay!
Festival. And just a reminder, Audio Play Festival in November. You should be listening out for those things. We're going to have some really great plays coming in that time.
And are we still taking submissions?
This podcast has already been released past the date, so no.
Oh, next year, next time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Michael says, great show this week, Budi and Adam. I feel really badly for the student director who had their show canceled by a combination of circumstances that were all so avoidable. Sadly, this is life in the collaborative arts. Things you really want to do can be taken away by forces outside of your control. Samuel Beckett is very important to me as an inspiration and as an artist who has continuously challenged me throughout life. Just a few years ago, we took our 12-year-old son to see Endgame at the Irish Repertory Theater. It was an amazing production, and I saw it reach him. Beckett does have timeless relevance, but I am sad to see that his estate is making decisions that could undermine that. You
Mm-hmm.
discussed a potential boycott of Beckett Productions until the estate modernizes itself. I'm not sure things even need to be that organized. Beckett is not the only writer out there tackling existential themes. If the
True.
estate quashes the ability of young people to engage with his work, they will turn to others. Buchner is there for the taking, royalty free and in the public domain.
Buchner. Mm,
Jose Rivera pushes many of those Beckett buttons.
mm,
I could go
mm.
on, but I bet
Rivera.
you two could go on longer.
Mm.
I'm sure the estate thinks it's protecting Beckett's legacy, but it
Did you
may be
say Pose
harming it.
Rivera or Jose Rivera?
Why would I say Jose Rivera?
I thought I heard Pose.
Well, maybe it's because you were interrupting me while I was reading. I'm sure the estate thinks it is protecting Beckett's legacy, but it may be harming it. Not putting on a live production is the easiest thing in the world to do, and I do worry that if the Beckett estate doesn't free its mind a bit, that when my son has children, he will not even have the option of taking them to see Endgame. The university seems off base here as well. As you pointed out, there are plays where gender matters. Albie's Three Tall Women is a very different show with three short men. The university should be aiming for equity of opportunity overall rather than on a show-by-show basis, and wide latitude should be given to student projects. Always lovely to hear your voices, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, I thought you'd get a kick out of that.
So then it's like for white girls who have considered suicide.
Right, exactly. It's an equity for opportunity for all, exactly.
For Karen who has considered suicide.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think that's.
Mm,
I mean, like, I don't think there's anything that we don't uh, disagree with. I mean, like,
right, no, exactly.
he's preaching to the choir on that on that opinion. I'm really happy that he wrote in, because
Yeah.
he's talking about a legacy that's actually transferring over into his lineage and his kids and his family,
Yeah.
and why
Yeah.
theater is so important to him. It's like, I want you to get an opportunity to witness some of the shows that have informed me as an artist, and
Yeah.
because of the estate that it's limiting access. And
Yes.
so, do you do you feel like he thinks that they should change, or do you think that it should move on based upon this
Yes.
email?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I mean, he does say if they don't change, then we're all going to move on.
Mm.
Uh, but he also says in there, we should all move on. Jose Rivera, Buchner, there are other
Yeah.
playwrights out there that
Yeah.
if we can't access this because of the rules of the estate, move on. Which sounds like take your money elsewhere,
And
take your
you know,
attention elsewhere.
and it also starts to go into the realm of like, yeah, look, we're Shakespeareophiles, and we love Shakespeare.
Yeah.
But not every one of his plays is brilliant, right?
No.
And he has moments of complicated writing and bad
Yeah.
writing.
Yeah.
And to uphold one playwright to be the perfect end all to a whole genre of thinking and generation of theater makers is
Yeah.
already problematic,
Yeah.
right? And it's hard. It's really hard when people get so like fanatical about one particular artist, and they don't want to engage in any other human experiences, which is kind of how we ended up in this predicament of diversity and inclusion and access, because your white male people, got real pushy around their narratives and violent around their narratives. And I think keeping the realm of possibility open is definitely the right way to go. Just in this day and age, you know,
Mm.
we weren't having these conversations 10 years ago. And
No.
when we did have conversations around these kinds of things 10 years ago, it was like, but we need to keep the canon alive. We need to keep the standard canon alive. The
Mm.
classical alive. But it's like, but from my culture, there are other classical traditions.
Yeah.
So when you use the concept of classical, there are other classical traditions. This is what she's saying, essentially is like there are other traditions within the genre of every form of theater.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yay, Michael!
Thank
We
you,
love
Michael.
you. Thank you for
Thank you,
writing to
Michael.
us. Thank you for
Really appreciate it.
listening.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
next?
All right. I like this. This is great that we finally have this person writing into us.
Ooh, who's this person?
Hey, fellas, it's Wiley. Longtime
Wiley.
admirer, first time contributor. Sorry I'm late to the party, but have just finished listening to this episode and wanted to offer some thoughts and provocations. Although I believe in it, my problem with the ideal of freedom of speech, like many ideals in our society, is that it assumes an even playing field. It almost exists in a vacuum. Sadly, we still live in a world where many from the moment they're born are already at a disadvantage. What good is freedom of speech if you can't be heard, or the words of your people are considered less relevant than others? What good is freedom of speech if others can afford a much louder and state of the art microphone, capable of far more advanced and insidious means of conveying their message? It's easy to just say freedom of speech for all, but that doesn't take into account a multitude of factors and considerations. I've been reading a bit of David Graeber recently, and if I understand his ideas, he would seem to advocate political and social systems that are more dynamic and creative than the ones we currently adhere to. Systems that are adaptive and may well change their power structures depending on need and the given circumstances. I think we need to be more flexible in how we apply the sacred tenets of our ideologies. I believe in freedom of speech, but it has to be dynamic and adaptive. Playing devil's advocate here, but couldn't the Beckett estate argue that particular race, gender, etc., is important to the story? Much like Adam argued for productions of Hamilton. Do they have that right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Wiley.
Yeah.
Why aren't you writing to us more, Wiley?
Yeah. It's
Mr.
165
Stephen
episodes.
Wiley.
Yeah.
Wiley. My baby Wiley. Why are you not writing to us more? Okay, so maybe we broke the seal and he's going to get more engaged.
I hope so.
I love what he says about this. Like, dynamic political systems.
Mm.
Because I knowing this writer of this
David Graeber
feedback,
or no
I'm
Wiley.
sh- Monsieur Wiley, I'm sure, is already saying we need to burn it down and start all over. But knowing how gentle he is, he won't want to do it violently. He'll want to do it through logic and let's talk around it. But
Mm.
me, I'm gonna take your words, Wiley, and say burn it down. Yes, we need to change the political attachment to processes in the theater and processes in education and the processes in institutions. I am tired of it. You know, I'm 50 years old now and I had a wonderful birthday. Thank you. Um, and I'm happy to start it all over. You know, I start all over because people are crying and burning for change. And I think the biggest problem is that there's been so much crying for change, before we even were born, Adam,
Hmm.
that we as a people move so damn slow. And you
We
would
do.
think that this global society that has grown out of the technology, that our species of people have been able to create in such a short amount of time would also help change the bodies and minds and politics much quicker. But the problem is, you've got people that would rather hold on to old things that are hurting them over and over again because they spent so much time making themselves dysfunctional and having cognitive dissonance and thinking the poison is medicinal, that they would rather hold on to that than go through the discomfort of saying, you know what, let's do an entire year without these plays. And I've been hearing about American companies, some big American companies, that are dealing with some real backlash on diversifying their political narrative around casting, around creating seasons.
Mm.
And there are uh, theater directors that literally, and I'm not kidding, have had to have a, a security detail around them.
Yeah.
So it's like desegregating the schools and having the kids being escorted into the schools with the National Guard. Like, it's really that deep.
Yeah.
Because it reminds me of a friend that it was a friend of mine that got a job in California, and when she started the job, um, an old white man came to her and said, and this is an African American woman, and said, "Welcome to, I can't remember the name of the university, the last bastion of white supremacy."
Oof. Ugh. Ugh.
Yeah.
Gross. Gross.
And he was and he wasn't doing it to it wasn't a violent act towards her, but it was like
It was a warning.
preparing her
Yeah.
for the challenges that she was going to entail
Yeah.
at the university. I know for my own experience.
Mm.
you know, I it doesn't matter what country you're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like, and essentially what he was saying is that the education systems around the world are still steeped deeply in white supremacy.
Mm.
The way that they'll accept proposals, academic proposals, the way that they'll accept uh, uh, learning outcomes, the way that they'll accept the rhetorical way in which you're trying to investigate knowledge, the way that they'll accept the transference of knowledge and information is highly, highly dominated by white supremacists, patriarchal, dominated colonial systems. dominant colonial systems. You can't even get into these schools without them being able to see themselves in the language you use and the way you're saying this is how I'm going to find the findings that I'm attempting to get. It's almost like I had to go through the PhD because just remember I've said like the whole reason why I trained in the Meister technique so that I could heal people from the Meisner technique later on in my career. It's like, why did I
Yeah.
end up in the Meisner studio? I'm so not that, but it turned out that I needed to know it inside and out so that I could help people that have been damaged by that philosophy of training. And then on top of that, I think that's the same thing that's happening with me with, finishing my PhD and doing my PhD in the way that I finally have done it, and we have a submission date. Boom, boom. Okay, y'all. We're all gonna have a party on September 30th, 2023. Is the submission date. Boom, boom. You know what I mean? So it's like, in regards to what Wiley's talking about, these dynamic political systems, the reason why they're dynamic is because they're putting so much energy in them. And I think we need to make them not so dynamic and say that it's a social place. It's not about politics. It's about furthering the human knowledge and using theater and the transference of knowledge through the arts from a horizontal scale where we're all equal.
Who do you think Wiley is talking about in terms of freedom of speech, though, in this email? Is he talking about the Beckett estate or is he talking about the student director?
Wiley, who are you talking about? um, it feels like from what he's saying that he's speaking generally for those of us that are trying to make work. I feel like he's talking to, to his colleagues on, okay, so what is this? What do we do? I think he's asking the question of what do we do. Knowing Wiley, he's talking to us and not trying to talk to the to the bigger system. He wants to attack the bigger system through the fealty and communal relationships of the individual artist.
Okay.
But you know me, I think on bigger, broader scales.
Yeah, I think I'm a little not confused. I'm a little trepidatious to wade into this because I'm not entirely sure what he's asking. I believe in freedom of speech, but it has to be dynamic and adaptive. Playing devil's advocate here, but couldn't the Beckett estate argue that particular race, gender, etc. is important to that story? Much like Adam argued for the productions of Hamilton. Do they have that right? It sounds like he's arguing for the Beckett estate, not for the director.
But that's devil's advocate. I think he's going devil's. I think that bit right there is him going. They could also think it in this way. I don't think it's for the Beckett estate. I think
Oh,
it's
I
that
don't. I
he's.
don't think he's. Yeah, no, I don't think he's. Standing in front of the gates with all of us with our pitchforks. I don't think
Ha!
that's what he's doing. Yeah, no, I don't know.
I think
Um,
I think I'm more interested in that, but
but do they have the right? Is that
I
the but?
think I think if he would have been able to say, I'm going into the rhetoric. I would have said, I'm all for freedom of speech, and don't they have the? Because the but feels like you can have freedom of speech within a certain
That's why I'm kind
framing.
of like that's why I'm kind of I don't know. It's that but yeah. Yes, they absolutely have the right to uh, their freedom of speech, which is Godot has to be all men. They have that right guaranteed to them, just like we have the right to not to no longer pay any attention or money to the
Mm,
Beckett estate.
yeah, and I think I think it felt like the button for me was there to say it's all around. It's centered around choices, right? The but is there's like, but this is what I feel, but this is what I feel, but this is what I feel, and that is the beauty of freedom of speech.
Mhm.
But I think it would have been clearer if, because I just think you kind of like diffuse your statement of freedom of speech and believing in it with a but. It kind of stops it. It kind of like, you know, it doesn't give it as much power. I'm being quite technical with the writing because I think because you're asking the reason why is because you're asking that question. You're
Yeah.
asking me the question of is whose side is he on? You
Yeah.
know? And all we have, Wiley, is your writing. And I hope that this doesn't deter you from ever sending us anything else.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. You have
Because I
Wiley, you have the freedom of speech to say anything you want
hallelujah.
except but. You can't say but.
I think I think your butt is really wonderful, Wiley. You know I love your butt.
Yeah. We both are appreciative of your butt.
It's very true. It's very true. Wait.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But I think everyone should send us more comments and write to us more so
Amen. Please
we can go
do.
down the rabbit hole of what you're thinking.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yes, it is. It's very important. We'd love to hear from you. And it's been a while since we've heard from anybody, but we knew that we were going to have
I
something
mean,
for that episode for sure.
we lost our number one fans.
Number 1, number 2, number 3 gone.
Gone.
Still out there, I hope. We don't know.
I know. We have
Fell
no
into a
number
hole
ones, no
somewhere.
number twos, no number. They're, but once again, what are they doing? Working.
Yeah, it's true.
We have to stop being so good at them. All of our
I
students keep
guess.
working.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk to us in the podcast anymore.
No, they don't. So sad. We got to get new people.
Oh my god! Subscribe. Well, I think we should take a break because we're gonna change gears after
Yes.
reading those wonderful, wonderful responses.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Wiley. We love you both.
There you go.
And then come back and talk about our big question.
Our big question. Yeah.
The big question. Ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary conforming individuals, you are listening to the jazzy stereo sounds of JDB, Jack David Burmeister. Wow, Jack. That was smooth. I'm going to take a bath now. I don't know if I'm ready for the rest of the podcast. I'm going to take a bath now.
Like a Colt 45. That was just smooth.
Smooth malt liquor.
What was that commercial that Billy D? It was a Billy D. Williams who did that commercial. Malt liquor.
Well, do you remember the In Living Color version of that
No,
spoof of that commercial?
No, what
And
was it?
they had Billy D. Williams, and then they had this black girl that came in. He was like, Coke 45 malt, smooth malt liquor. And then this black woman comes in. She's like, Billy, hey Billy, hey, I know you got something to drink up in here. Woo! And then he hands her like some Coke 45, and she's like, "Excuse me, I am a lady. May I please have a paper bag and a straw?" Woo!
In Living Color. What a great show that was.
Excuse me, I am a lady. May I please have a paper bag and a straw?
In Living Color. That was a good show. That was a good show.
Oh, I love that show. It's really, really good. It's really
Yeah.
good. So, what's the big question we're going to answer today, Adam?
So we got this is a prompt from Steven. And
Oh, Goldney.
yeah, and you kind of asked him, like, what should we talk about? And he gave us this question that we're in no way, shape, or form going to be able to answer in the next 30 minutes. But we're going to try.
But we can give some suggestions on how to attempt to answer it.
Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing what you're going to say. So
Oh Lord.
Stephen asks, in what ways can you change your life to be closer to your artistic dreams?
Okay. Do you want to go first?
No, I don't. I don't want to go at all. I can't answer this question.
But the first question is always what, Adam?
Why?
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 Why? Why do you need to change your life?
Yes.
That you feel is getting in the way of your artistic dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the first thing you need to do in the why is to figure out what those motherfucking dreams are.
Yes.
Because I think the biggest challenge for people who are the difference between an artist and someone who's not an artist who dreams of being an artist is the people that are not artists. They kind of sit in the pool of, oh, I really want to do this, or oh, I really want to do that, or oh, I mean, think about it from an animator's point of view. When people that have a career as an animator, they're always drawing. They can't stop drawing.
Mm.
They have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of images. So you need to look at what is that part of you that naturally wants to keep doing whatever it is. If you can't stop drawing and you want to live a life as a full-time animator or a painter or an illustrator, you have to then go, okay, well, what do I need in order to make that happen? And how good am I? How good is this work that I'm doing? So test it out.
Mm-hmm.
Submit it. Actors, go in an audition. See how it happens. See what happens with the audition. Audition for drama school. See what happens. Take a class. See what happens in that. I feel like I feel like the concept of changing one life doesn't have to be so fucking big.
No, God,
It's
that's
baby steps. It's
yeah.
like, I mean, I just posted like look at post the video that I just posted on Instagram video on Brian Cranston. Brian Cranston. I on my feed I did this. It's a quick little 3-minute video where he talks about the his life as an actor and talking about like those quick fix, like people going, I'm gonna take a year and I'm gonna spend a year in New York or Los Angeles or London, and I'm gonna try out this acting thing, and if it doesn't work in the year, then I'll know. And he's like, I've got advice for you, and I'll save you money and time. Don't do it, because it's a life journey. And so the key for finding ways to change your life so that you can pursue and become closer to your artistic dreams is to do your art first and foremost.
Yeah.
And then you have to figure out what is getting in the way of you doing your art. So if you want to be a writer and you're finding that the particular job that you're at is getting in the way of you wanting of being able to write as much as you want to write or need to write to get to the core of what you are trying to investigate in your your craft, right? And so that's the best way to figure it out. What is missing that I need? So you figure out why. Why do you want to be a painter? Why do you want to be an actor? Why do you want to be a writer? Right? And then do it. And through
Yes,
doing it,
it's that second part. It's that second part that everybody leaves out. It's
do it. So going into it and doing that number two thing, right? You got to do the number
Mhm.
two thing.
Yeah.
Not take a number two, but do the number two.
Yes, it's that second part. It's that second. This is the. I am currently. I'm not gonna lie. I am currently going through Tony Robbins' Personal Power 2 workshop. So I'm not gonna lie. And it's the simplest thing is what do you want, and then go do that thing. I mean, it's basically, it's ridiculous. That's what it is. But he was saying, knowledge is not power. Knowledge is not power. Everybody knows what they need to do, basically. They just don't do it. They just can't get the willpower to go and do it. They can't make that change because they think, as you said before, they think that it is a ginormous change that needs to be made instead of just the baby steps. So,
Yeah.
literally, my homework today was what is it that you want to change in your life? And what is something that you can do today to make a step toward that thing? And then you just add another thing tomorrow, and then you add another thing after that, and then eventually you're halfway to that process, and then not only that, once you get it, or if you don't get it, try
You're
again.
not done.
You're not done, try again, and then eventually you may get, you know what, this isn't actually what I want, and that's part of the process. It's like science. You have a hypothesis, you test it out, you don't rely on the results, and you keep going. And so yeah, that's how do you make your artistic life what it is? Identify what it is that you want, go and do it, test it out, and then see if that's what you wanted. See if you got it.
And but I'm like my brain is like rattling right now because I'm like, what happens if you are fortunate enough to live for 101 years?
Mm,
Do you want it to have been doing the same fucking thing for 101 years?
no.
Or that you went and explored being a taxi driver, you went and explored being a forest ranger, you went and explored the world. Like life is literally yours to go and have,
Mm,
and the more you connect to where your heart feels most stable
yeah.
is where you'll have more the most enjoyment in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that noise out there, y'all. There's someone who has to be sawing something on the streets of New Jersey and Weehawken on a sidewalk next to a bus stop. Like, I mean, and the reason why the windows are open is because I'm in New Jersey and New York, and the heaters are just on all day long.
Yeah.
So you have to open up the windows so you can breathe, or you die. It's like hot yoga all day long. Okay, and that's part of living your life as an artist. There
This
you go,
is
right there.
buzz saws. Buzz saws in the background. Yeah.
But I mean, that's the thing. That's it right there, Adam. Like, our podcast is part of our artistry. Like,
Yes.
like we've been doing it for 3 years. Like, this
Yeah.
is how we've been able to actually keep our mojo alive as artists. Like, it
Yeah.
literally saved us during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And because we bring you a podcast every week without fail, you get different backdrops, and you get people sawing fucking logs on the streets of Jersey.
Yeah.
And I think but the key is, why do we do it? Because theater matters. And we're constantly reminding you that theater matters,
Yeah.
you
It
know?
can. It absolutely can. It doesn't always, but it can. It should. And Stephen doesn't like me to use the word should in things, but it can. It absolutely can. It doesn't always. People don't always make it matter. People don't always uh, go to it and accept that it matters, but it can matter
Yeah.
as long as your why is identifiable, why you're doing this production, why you are doing it specifically.
But I
That's
think
yeah,
that what you do does matter. And what we do is theater. What we do
yeah,
is theater, and it matters. And we've created a platform. We're one of a very small niche of podcasts that are really talking about theater and all the different facets that encompasses that world, and that theater mind, that theater actor, that theater director, that theater artist, and how those worlds intertwine with the world, and how important theater is, you know and but it happened with baby steps.
yeah.
We weren't in the top 5 percentile of podcasts when we began. I didn't even have a proper mic for a year. And
Yeah,
then what happened? I realized that, oh well,
gotta up our
we
game.
now have a producer, Jack David Burmeister, and he's
Yeah,
like, Budi, you
get
need
a
to get a
mic.
better mic. And I
Yeah,
was like, okay. And that's part of the baby steps
yeah,
of getting closer to what you want to do.
yeah,
And now we didn't because we moved to different countries. We were having a difficulty with developing our audience. It's hard to develop an audience when you're a theater company with the two co-directors living on either ends of the literally on either ends of the planet.
literally, literally.
So
Yeah,
how do we do that? We created a podcast. We found the need, the niche, because we're always talking like this anyway. So why not record it? And this
yeah,
is what happens when you're in a space with us when we're teaching.
yeah. It's true. Yeah,
But it also came from the real love and desire to make together.
mm,
And it always starts from our heart.
yeah,
It's and that's why people come along for the ride with us, because we're always talking from there.
yeah,
Why you got all are listening and taking your shower and listening to us in the shower, or walking the dog, or driving your car. You have a long drive, or you've downloaded us and are listening on the at the airport because you want to be reminded of what's going to bring you closer to what you want in your art.
mm.
Listening to us is part of it, because we're constantly giving you provocations every single week.
Hmm.
Week, y'all. Week.
Yeah.
And that's why I was laughing when you were like, I don't know what I'm going to say. I was like, what do you mean you don't know what you're going to say?
I
I
mean,
don't
but
know.
I feel like we've said it. We've said it a lot. We always it's a very simple thing. I mean, this is why this question bothers me, because people ask this question, but it's the same answer every single time, and it's just people don't accept the answer, and they just stay where
No,
they're
it's not
at.
that they don't accept the answer. It's not that they don't accept the answer. It's because sometimes when you give them the answer, they're listening through a different filter. How many times do we repeat the same thing over and over again in classes, and then all of a sudden another teacher comes and you say the exact same thing, and they go, "Oh my God, I learned it for the first time." It's like, no, actually, I've been saying this to you since you started working.
Yeah,
Or like the last day of class, they go, "Oh my God, I finally understand."
yeah,
Because everyone is coming to you from a different filter and a different understanding of the world.
yeah,
So you have to keep repeating it. Repetition is how you get is how, not perfection, but how you get detail.
yeah,
Repetition is how you find the meaning in things, and the things that need to be repeated and things that don't need to be repeated. If it doesn't have value, it doesn't need to be repeated. But if it has value, then damn well you should be repeating it and screaming it from the mountaintop every chance you get.
yeah, yeah,
So I think that's the shift that I'm offering you, my best friend, is that you don't have to go mopey with it. You can go, okay, I'm going to say it again, and this time maybe someone's going to get it. And also, we're thinking about this kind of outreach that we have. We may have a completely new set of ears on us today,
it's
right?
true. It's very true.
It's really important. This is the gift that I'm sending out to y'all listening as well. You know, it's like you feel like you're beating, you're blue in the face and you're beating a dead horse and everything's becoming redundant with whatever you're doing. It's not redundant. It has value to you. You just keep repeating it. I mean, how many times did Michael Jackson do the moonwalk? We're not going to talk about the other things that he did redundantly, but it's like but that's part of your craft.
Yeah.
How many times did Beyonce have to do single ladies? It's like, especially, and the Bohemian Rhapsody. It's like, but Queen they have so much fun doing their work, and I can't speak for them, but what I experience when I experience their work is they go into the zone of the things that matter to them. Why? Because they like it. Why? Because they love it.
Yeah.
Why? Because the heart says, I gotta do this. It's where I feel strongest. The challenge is that mopiness that surrounds action. I
Mm.
just have so many things I want to do. Well, choose one.
Yeah,
I know, but
exactly.
I don't know which one to choose. Just choose one.
Any.
It shouldn't be on the list if you don't want to do it. So
Right,
choose
exactly.
one.
Any. Yeah.
But what if it's not the right one? Your body will tell you if it's right or not.
Then you've learned. Great, and you can cross that out and you've
Exactly.
got one less thing you need to worry about. Now do another thing.
And what you've learned goes into what you're doing currently. I
Yeah.
mean, so many things have happened in my life, and I've had so many different experiences all around the world, in my youth, in my old age, and it's like they all enrich me as an artist. They've
Yeah.
all enriched me as an academic. They've all enriched me as a published author. They've all enriched me as a teacher.
Yeah.
Every single moment of my life has value.
Yeah.
So if you focus on something, it's going to give you what it needs to give you. There's this sense that, like, I've got to uh be famous, or I've got to prove it to my parents that I have the worth of being an artist. It's not about that.
Yeah.
And it's way more complex than that, because you're not always working.
There's
And
a
when I say
lot
you're
of
not always
downtime.
working, there's a lot of downtime and there's a lot of rest time that's necessary for making art.
Yeah. Where the idea is going to come from. If you
Yeah.
don't give yourself the time to reflect and time to think and time to have nothing going on, that's when boom,
Oh,
you
I
know?
have a book to recommend. Rest is Resistance. Have I
Rest
recommended
is
that one?
you have not.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get the book. I'm gonna go grab the book. Hold on one second.
Okay. Rest is Resistance book by a manifesto. My goodness. Okay. Rest is Resistance, a manifesto by Trisha Hersey.
Yes.
Okay.
Rest,
Rest is Resistance. Yes.
rest resistance. Yes. And there's a little thing in here. She starts it off with, your body is a site of liberation. It doesn't belong to capitalism. Love your body. Rest your body. Move your body. Hold your body. And then the next page she says, I hope you are reading this while lying down! Exclamation mark. And I literally wrote down, I am, because I was. And because you know me, I was totally
how
lying
did you
down.
know? How did she know?
It was amazing. I was literally needing rest. And
Mm,
and the whole concept is that our first line of resistance to capitalism, which I think is kind of apropos to what we've been talking about,
yeah.
is to rest
Yeah.
and take care of our bodies and move things into our sense of time and needs. So yeah, so I recommend that book.
I'll check it out. I will check it out.
So I think it's time for provocations, Adam
I think
Marple.
so. I think we're here. I think they were at the spot. Yeah.
Do you have any provocations?
I mean, I'm just going to tell you to write down what it is that you think your best artistic life is going to be. Don't imagine it and keep it in your head. Actually write it down. Be clear about it. Be detailed about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I used to do this with my students in the last year. I would make them write a 5-year plan, not because it was going to be something that was written in stone, not because it was going to be a blueprint or a guidebook onto how to get there, but just so they could start to visualize what they would like their life to look like 5 years in the future.
Mm.
And I always loved when they came back 5+ years later and said, that thing that I wrote about, I did it. Or that thing that I wrote about, I realized I didn't want it at all. And
Mm-hmm.
that's great. But if you don't have a direction to go at all, then you will remain directionless. You will float, you will
Mm-hmm.
wander.
Mm-hmm.
So write down what you think your best artistic life would look like so that you can do part 2 of the process, which is do the smallest bit to start
Yeah.
walking in that direction.
Yeah. Just keep swimming, one step at a time. You can't make it to the top of the mountain but with one big jump. You got to take one step at a time.
Yeah.
Decide on what you want and wait your turn.
Yeah.
That's simple. It's that simple. I think I'm going to ask y'all to get yourself a copy of Rest is Resistance.
Yeah.
Because it's through rest that you'll be able to find what you need.
Give yourself a pause. Yeah.
Yeah, give yourself a pause and realize that your resting is actually a form of working in your direction.
Oh man, yeah. 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 The number one thing, anybody who is doing any kind of serious workout routine, any kind of training, the number one thing they always tell you is sleep.
Mm-hmm.
Sleep. If you don't rest, all of those gains disappear by morning.
Mm-hmm.
In the rest is where the muscle is built.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rest is resistance. I'm gonna get that. It sounds good.
Yes. Yes, 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 yes. How are we gonna know that these listeners are doing what we've asked, Adam?
Well, they could go to speakpipe.com/theater of others. Again,
Mm.
speakpipe.com/theater of others, theater with an R-E, theater of others, all one word. Leave a 90-second voice message there. We'll play it on air. We miss
Mm-hmm.
hearing voices on here. But you could
Mm-hmm.
also do like Michael and Wiley did today, and you can write to us at podcast@theater of others. We'll be
Sure can.
very happy to read it on air and respond back to you with our questions and our provocations to you. But we also are on Instagram, Facebook, and our
We're on the gram,
website.
y'all.
You can find many, many ways to get in contact with us through any one of those mediums. We love hearing from you. But as we have these controversial topics that come up from time to time, the only way that you're going to know about what we said or what we didn't say is to do what, Budi?
Subscribe, 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 subscribe.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
We come
mm-hmm,
to your
mm-hmm.
inbox every week. How you gonna know what's going on if you don't subscribe, y'all?
That's right.
We'll come into your inbox and you can catch up with us how you want. And if you really like us, you can do like my Uber driver does
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
give us 5 stars. You give me 5 star, I give you 5 star, 5 star, 5 star, 5 star.
Yeah, yeah,
We all win. It's a winning game. It's a winning game. And then if you really, really like us, you can leave us a little comment and let us
yeah.
know how much you like us. Give us a review
Mm-hmm.
because those reviews actually go into the algorithm and push us further up. Let's make us into the top 1 percentile of podcasts of the world.
I mean, let's be honest here.
What?
Let's
What? No,
well
I
we
am being honest. I am being honest.
let's aim for 3. I think we can make the
I
top
want 1.
30%.
Oprah won't come on if we're not in the 1 percentile.
We're not gonna make
Oprah
number
is
one. We're not
Oprah
gonna make number
has
one.
is holding off on us because she's waiting for us to be in the 1 percentile.
Yeah, well, we're not gonna make it to the top 1. We're not getting Joe Rogan numbers here. We're not.
Ew. Are you saying people don't like theater that much?
I'd say we're a very niche podcast. That's for sure.
Niche.
Controversial statements here at the Theater of Others. You can write in
Mm-hmm.
with how you pronounce this word. But you have to do it in the speak
Exactly.
pipe. You have to do it on speak pipe because we need to hear how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Mm,
Exactly.
mm-hmm.
Well, it's so good to see you in that beautiful mauve background. My God, it's so.
I'm giving you Angels of America realness.
It is. It's
Mauve.
so. It's so. It's so. That's all I have to say. It's
You,
so.
you,
It's so.
you want to see what I can do with my phone?
Yeah. Let me see what you can do. Oh no. Are you gonna change it even more? Are you gonna get? Oh.
Ooh, I can do
Now it's
any
disco.
color. I can do
Now
any
it's straight
color.
up porn. It's porn site. Like you're like waiting for like the girl to show up now.
Yep. I can do
Yeah,
anything.
exactly.
I can do anything with my phone. I can turn it on. I
You
can
can do
turn it
anything.
off.
Well, because ladies like strobe lights. They like multiple
They
colors.
love, yeah. That definitely excites the ladies to have strobe lights. Yeah. I'm having a seizure. Stop. Yeah.
That and the smell of Old Spice.
Mm. Yeah.
And apparently malt liquor.
Malt liquor. Smooth.
Excuse me, I am a lady. May I please have a paper bag and a straw? By the way, nice lighting.
Exactly. That's all I'm looking for in life. Just that. Just looking for that. No biggie. No big deal.
Well, I hope to see this again next week.
I'm gonna give you different colors every single week.
Okay. Well,
I'm gonna give you
I'll give you
firelight.
different hair and different hats, and you give
Okay.
me different colors,
You do
different
that.
backdrops,
Yes. Exactly.
And for y'all, we'll be back next week in your inbox because you subscribed.
Mhm.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Theater Brothers podcast. Make sure to visit our website, theaterbrothers.org, where you can subscribe to the show in iTunes, Stitcher, or via RSS, so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, we'd appreciate a rating on iTunes. Or if you'd simply tell a friend about the show, that would help us out too. A special thank you to Purple Planet for the music you've heard. The Theater Brothers creates a shared community of artists and audiences for the purposes of exploring the most profound issues of our lives and times. We believe the play watches the audience. The audience is necessary, and they are witness to what happens. And you get to be witness to us making that happen. The purpose of this podcast is to open up our process and let you in. We're peeling back the curtain, so to speak, and encouraging you to follow along, to ponder, prod, and question, to join us and criticize us if need be. Being a witness is no passive task and requires much from you. Are you up for the journey? Be sure to tune in next week for our next journey.